Hello again, everyone. This is Gilmer, and this is episode 12 of my Let's Play War in the West. This is actually a recording over a recording. I'm recording audio after the fact. As you can see, my cursor is right there, but then I have a second cursor, which is the cursor I'm using right now. And what I'm doing, I'm just going to try to do a little bit of audio over what I was doing at the time. I was just explaining to everybody I want to move everything from here as much as possible, get it over here. I'm going to move at some point 2 amphibious HQs to this hex and this hex when I finally attack Messina, and hopefully those extra naval guns will help in actually attacking Messina, because we definitely would need some help. I've read several issues with people who have had trouble actually cracking Messina, and so that's what we're going to do. And I've also read people say that using the Navy amphibious attack for headquarters, or whatever the hell you call them, the amphibious HQs, the amphibious HQs model naval support in essence, basically the naval artillery, where you have cruisers, destroyers, even battleships bombarding forces on the shore. And then over here I'm talking about how you want to get people in the reserve line to assist the people in the front lines, and you have to have them all under the same HQ. So you have to kind of have a good mix of different units from different HQs, and then have a good mix behind them of different units from different HQs, so that you'll get everybody actually attacking and assisting and using all of your forces to the best benefits that they can have. And right here, I think I'm looking for the 7th U.S. Army, and I follow this line out, and this unit is actually attached directly to the 7th U.S. Army, whereas the rest are attached to an HQ that is attached to the 7th U.S. Army. So I'm talking about how I probably need to attach that unit. I know that's really annoying to have two mouse pointers floating around on the screen. So I'm looking at the Morocco Free French, and I'm going to move them up as well, and possibly attach them to some of the HQs, as opposed to having them attached to the Free French Army HQ so I can use them. I don't know if that's going to work or if I'll have enough room, but that is definitely something I'm going to do at some point, try to get them into the attack. And what else am I talking about here? I guess I'm talking about moving the I'm talking about putting everybody on refit before the attack, because it helps to build them up to full strength when you put them on refit. So for the next couple of turns, I'm going to have them on refit so that they can get the full amount of attack power that they can get. So when I go up against Messina, and right now I'm talking about the naval amphibious HQs, in which hexes I'm going to put them in to support the attack on Messina. Sorry, I know this is going to be a little disjointed, but I figured it's better than having just a video with no sound up there. Actually, somebody asked me if I was going to put sound on the video, and at first I wasn't thinking about doing it, but then I thought, it really would be better if I did add some sound to this video, because nobody's going to want to watch just a video. I mean, I'm sitting here watching it, and there's no sound, and I'm sitting there thinking, this sucks. But I'm doing a little bit of narration for this. Right now I'm checking preparation points, and where all the units are related to my upcoming invasion of Sardinia. And I'm just moving that unit closer to the HQ and their other fellow units from the same HQ that are sitting in the port of, I don't know what that it's cut off somewhat, Philippeville maybe. But I'm looking at the prep points and just seeing what the progress is on the prep points and explaining where I'm going to be attacking in Sardinia. I'm pointing out that the rain is pouring down on half of Sardinia and that it degrades air flying, it degrades battle units on the ground, it degrades everything. And even so, everybody has to fight in it. So I'm going to attack when I'm going to attack. Maybe if it's raining and it's on the attack turn, I might wait a turn. I don't know. But, you can wait and wait and wait, and it be rain on every single turn. So now we're going up here to England, check out some of the airfields. And I'm sure I'm talking about how I'm letting the AI run the air war. And the reason I'm doing that is because it seems like when I first started, I felt like I knew enough that I could take full advantage of the air portion to achieve my goals. But I ran a couple of turns with the AI doing the execution and me just planning where I want, what industry I want to attack, and it did really well. And it also did a lot more air recon than I had planned. So obviously I wasn't doing enough air recon, so it's doing a hell of a lot more of air recon for me. And so I'm just explaining why I'm doing that, because those first few turns, it seemed like I was doing a pretty good job, but they're running a lot more air sorties than I was doing. And as you can see, the losses are actually evening out pretty well, and they actually go even better in the next couple of turns, to the extent that the Axis is actually losing more airplanes than I'm losing at some point. Not here, I don't think, not really, not yet, but it's close. It's getting closer. Right there, it's looking like right at 3 airplanes lost on the Ally side to 2 on the Axis side on that last turn. But here in the next couple of turns, it actually goes in the positive for Allies, where the Axis are losing more planes than the Allies are. So that's something that I was really excited about. And of course, I was so excited about it, I was talking on this video about it, and of course the video didn't record because every single time there is a window update, it resets my settings in Bandicam, which I don't understand why it does that. And it also usually it resets my playback device just for listening to YouTube videos and things like that. And I went in and took a look at my headphone settings, and those hadn't changed, and I was actually hearing sound from YouTube. So I just assumed everything had not reset, but the Bandicam settings had actually reset, and so I don't get any sound and any narration or any sound effects, to be honest. So right now I have just processed a turn, and the Germans are doing their air part, the enemy air part, basically, I think is what this is called. I don't know if you're probably seeing this process line, which is kind of annoying as hell, but there we go. Let's see if that, yeah, okay. So if I don't move the cursor around, we won't get all those annoying update progress bars and things like that on the video. And you don't get the annoying 2 mouse cursors floating around on the screen. I was watching that, and I saw one going one way and one going the other, and I thought, holy crap, anybody watching that might have an epileptic seizure or something. because that definitely was just disconcerting. And we took a look at the battle screen. I mean the losses screen here. But what I did look at was the air losses screen, and as you can see, the Axis have lost 2174 airplanes, and we've only lost 1850. That's pretty good. That's that it gets even better in the next couple of turns, and during this episode, it gets a lot better. So, as you can see, any situation where the Axis are losing more airplanes than the Allies is a good situation for the Allies, because a little later on I'll look at the total operational airplanes compared between the two sides, and the Allies basically have 30-to-1 advantage in operational airplanes. So if we're the losses are basically the Axis is losing more airplanes than the West, the Allies are, then that's a very good situation for the Allies. So I think I probably talked a lot longer on the screen than I probably should have, but I was really excited about finding out that the Axis has lost so many airplanes compared to me. I mean it's essentially, a 1-for-1 almost. I mean, they're a little bit more. If you want to get technical, they've lost 7 airplanes to my 6 or so, and that's not bad. I'm really liking that. And now I'm just talking about how I'm going to let the AI keep on controlling the air war, because it's doing a lot better job than I was doing. And I'm talking about how I've got, we're bombing airfields and we're doing air superiority, and that must be working pretty well as a strategy, because they're losing more airplanes than we are. And in the next few turns, it gets even more lopsided for the Allies, to be honest. It gets to the point where they're losing 6 for every 5. No, they're losing 8 for every 7 of our airplanes, which, what did I say a minute ago? I'll forget it. I don't know. But like I said, any situation with the Axis is losing more airplanes than the West is a good situation for us. So, and as you can see, we're hammering the hell out of their industry, and I'll be talking about that a little later on. I take a look at that, because we have hammered the almighty hell out of some of their heavy production factories. And as you can see, I mean, you can tell the AI is running a hell of a lot more air recon than I was, and they're still kind of checking out Sardinia to make sure that we know exactly what's going on in Sardinia at the time. Excuse me. I really don't know what I'm talking about here, unless I'm just pushing home the point that they're running so much more air recon than I was. And now I'm talking about the losses. Looks like we're losing 4 to their 3. But as you'll see in the total actual losses, it's a lot more lopsided to the Western Allies. So I'm just gonna slightly move the cursor and see where we are right now. So we're at 14 minutes in, and we've got about 19 minutes left on this video. And so the video runs about 33 minutes. As you can see right there, on that turn, the Axis started losing more planes than the Allies. And I was so excited about that. I was feeling pretty good about that situation, because it gets even more it doesn't get more lopsided, but it stays basically the same on the next turn. So I'm checking out the prep points, and I'm also checking out the supply situation, I guess. Yeah, here we go. I'm looking at the soft factor, and it's the current supply. And see how this stack has one green and then the other two are yellow, which means their supply is not the highest supply at their HQ. So I'm going to change their supply level on their HQ, the 13th British Corps, which is right here, and I'm going to right click on it. Not there, don't right click on it, right click there, and it says supply priority 2, and I'm going to put supply priority 4, and then that's going to jack them up to green levels on supply and get them to where I need them attack wise. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to switch out. Well, I'm going to move this one up first and put him on refit, and then I'm going to move the rest of them up as much as possible. If I was moving a lot of units, doing it this way where it displays every move through every hex, that would get old. You can't do that in War in the East. There are too many units to move to do that. It has to be instantaneous, or it'd take you forever, because you can move up to 150 or 200 units a turn. Here, you're moving what, 10? Because once that War in the East gets cranked up, there are a lot of units to move around. I'm going to move the HQ up. And he takes the long route. Not really sure why he did that, but we moved him up. I was just looking for any more combat units to move up, and I don't see any. And then I guess I'm just checking the prep points. 13, 8 prep points there. They're all divisions, so I don't know why one is not getting the prep points. It might be port size. That might be it. Which, if it is, then there's nothing you can do about that. I'll take a look at that in my next episode. See, right now I'm checking to see if they're all divisions, and they are. Brigades gain points more quickly because they're smaller, and so it's easier to move them. And I'm just checking. And now I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing at this point. I'm probably thinking it's time to I don't know what I'm talking about right here. I might be back to talking about how I'm setting up my attack, and that the second line, you have to put them into reserve, and when they're in reserve and the front line is attacking, depending on the command checks and things like that, they can support the frontline units. And that's another trick of using your units so that to the best of their abilities, so that you can get everybody out of Messina at this point. And I want to have as strong as I can on the front lines, and then obviously as strong as possible on the second lines, but the strongest should go on the first line of attack. And I'm taking a look at their units, the Smaltz Panzer Grenadier Brigade and the 16th Panzer Division, and we have very high detection on them. We have a detection of 10 level, which means we pretty much know everything about them that we can. They're in a level 3 fort, which sucks, because that's going to make them very tough to get out of there. But hopefully the naval artillery will be able to help me push them out. And I'm talking about, right now I'm talking about the amphibious HQs regaining, repairing their damage. And then I'm going to put them in the 2 hexes right next to Messina when I'm ready to attack Messina. And that'll probably happen on turn 10, probably. Maybe, I don't know. And I'm going to end my turn. Let the Germans do whatever they do. It looks like they move some people in and out of out of Messina on some of their turns. And then I think right now I'm talking about if I had done like what somebody I read did, they repurposed 3 of their amphibious task forces on the first turn and invaded Italy on the second turn and invaded Sicily with the other 3 and pretty much cut off all the units in Sicily. And it helped root out, because once you take, if you take the other side of the straits from Messina, then they can't get supply over land. They could still get it from the from naval forces, but if your naval patrol is better in that area, then they get no supply at all. And that's what I was talking about at that point. And then here we're talking, as you can see, the Axis is losing a hell of a lot more planes than the Allies are. So as soon as this turn is over, we look at the air losses to see what the total air losses are. I'm pretty sure. What time is it? Okay, so 11 minutes left in this video. Really pisses me off that every single time Windows does an update, it resets the settings on my Bandicam. I don't know why that is. Oh, here we go. So the Axis has lost 2546 planes. We've lost 2175. So that's a difference of what, about 370 planes or so? 369. Yeah, 300. I guess 60. No, wait a minute. 2175. 369 would be 371. Yeah, 371. So a difference of 371 planes, and that's the Axis losing more than us. So I really am pretty pleased with how the air war is going at this point. And right here I'm talking about pilots killed in action. We've lost 2,000. They've only lost 1,700. And I'm just discussing that. I think that's probably because most of the lost airplanes are over German territory. And so you tend to lose them. You tend to have them killed more when they're over the enemy area. And that could be for any number of reasons. But I did mention that, as we all know, the SS did shoot probably or execute prisoners at points and times. And I'm not saying, I'm not criticizing Germany now for doing that. I'm just saying it's just a fact of war that the SS did execute probably some of our pilots when they were shot down, or somebody did, and that's why we lost them. And it could just be as simple as you jump out of your airplane, you got your parachute, and a German soldier sees you coming down and shoots you. What he doesn't know, you might be a paratrooper for all he knows. But right here I'm going to look at total airplanes per side, and as you can see, the Axis has 2922, Italy has 649, which I think are not very good planes. The Italian type planes, they're second tier type planes. And then you have down here, the British have 2940 airplanes. So just the British alone have more than the German planes. But then you add in the USA planes, they have 3871 operational planes, and you're looking at 6,700 and what is it, 6,811 planes or so compared to the Axis planes. And then Western Allies have 1,269, which the Western Allies are pretty much flying British airplanes, I believe, at this point in the conflicts. And the British airplanes are really good. The Spitfires and the Typhoons and all those, they're pretty good planes. So you're looking at something like 8,500 to 3,500 plane differential between the two sides. And so for the Axis to be losing more planes than the Allies, that's pretty damn good. And we're just going to do I think another turn where we're moving units up to Messina to get them in place. Oh, and I'm discussing how I haven't done the air portion yet, and that's what I'm doing now. I was wondering, well, I wasn't really wondering. I tried to move one unit and it wouldn't let me, and then I realized that it's because I need to execute the air directives before I do the land turn phase. And here we're gonna right as soon as this the air phase is done, we're gonna take a look at the damage done to the factories, because it's pretty extensive at this point. It really is. We're gonna look at 4 or 5 different cities with their factories and pretty much discuss that some of 5 or 6 of these factories are at 100% damage. That's pretty damn good. We're hammering their factories in some areas. In some areas it's not so much, but in several areas we're really killing it. As you can see down here, if you can see it, we're losing more airplanes in our phase than they are, but it averages out, and they're still losing more planes in total than we are, so that's always a good thing. As you can see, our sorties are about 3 to 1 for them, and 2 to 1 total airplanes flying. Okay, we're going to look at the factory damage. So as you can see, the city called Rhine, it didn't show it, but I think it was at 100%. That factory was at 100%. I'm probably not holding my cursor over the pop-up long enough for people to see it, so I might need to. I'm just realizing that these ones in yellow have very little damage, but some of these that are in red have 100% damage. You might not be able to see that as quickly as my eyes are drawn almost immediately to the heavy industry. So in Lubeck, the heavy industry, I think, was damaged 59%, and in Wismar, it was damaged 100%. And there, I didn't see it. Heavy industry is only damaged 2% there, but vehicle is damaged 68%, which I think is pretty much their tank factory in Cologne. So I think we're doing some damage to their factories, to their heavy production, which is good, really good. See, it's cutting it off right there. I'm seeing it when I'm playing it, but I don't think you're seeing it. Heavy industry there was 6%, it looked like. Heavy industry there, 2%. Heavy industry there, it cut it off. That would be annoying if I was watching this video. I need to do a better job at that, because those pop-ups don't stay on the screen long enough. So as you can see, this turn they lost more airplanes again. They lost 12 more airplanes. Last turn they lost 26 more airplanes. So as long as that keeps going like that, I'll be happy. We'll do pretty good in the air war if the losses stay the way they are. I mean, in the worst turn I had, I lost 4 planes to their 3, which is in very manageable areas for the Allies. Plane loss or air war. The losses from the air war. I can lose 4 to their 3 all day long, and at the end of the war, have 5,000 airplanes. So I'd take a loss of 4 of my planes to 3 of theirs any day, anytime. So it's all looking good, looking very good. How much time? It's 3 minutes left. I'm winding down the video here at this point, talking about what I'm going to do. I'm looking at these 2 units that are in Messina. Their attack value, their offensive attack value has dropped, and their defensive attack value or defensive value or whatever you would call it, looks like it probably has dropped as well. I don't know how much, but I think it has dropped. And right now I'm going to assign engineer units, because engineer units help with units that are in fortresses or are entrenched, and so I need as many engineer units as I can attach. I only have 1, and I attached it to looks like the Canadian Infantry Division. Oh, wait a minute, no, I'm attaching it down here to the 1st U.S. Infantry Division. No, I'm not. It said the Canadians, didn't it? Yes, it did. My bad. And right now I'm going to take a look at that engineer, and I'm pointing out that is not a railroad repair engineer unit. It is a true engineer combat battalion that's going to help me, defeat their fortress, defeat their entrenchment. And here I don't have any more to add, so I'm just going to add some artillery, armored brigade. The U.S. Infantry Division has another engineer battalion attached to it. That's the big red one. I don't think I can attach any more units, and I also don't think I can attach units to the airborne, because that would kind of defeat the purpose of it being airborne. You don't want to attach armored brigades to the airborne division. You're not going to drop tanks out of an airplane. I think you might can do it these days, but it wouldn't be very efficient. And see, there's some construction. Those are the construction engineers. Those are for railroad repair. And I'm going to look at it right here. And as you can see, it's a railroad repair unit. I don't know if those help or not. I don't think they do. Not for fighting. Not for digging out units that are entrenched in a fortress. But what are you going to do? And I think I've got just a few seconds left, and I'm telling everybody thank you very much for watching. And next episode, we will probably be attacking Messina. And that I will see you next time. Thanks a lot. And I'm going to just turn it off here at this point. Where's my... Here we go. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. And that's it.